Hey guys, DAce, and I'm here now to completely finish Soul Surfer. One thing I wanted to say was sorry if I seemed a bit more uninterested and really bored throughout especially the ending part of last episode. Mostly just because the movie itself, especially in the middle part where I stopped, is really, really boring. It's honestly one of the most boring things I've ever actually watched in a movie. So I'm sorry if it looked like I was completely disinterested and not wanting to watch it at all, because I really kind of didn't, because the movie was just so bland and just it was a trial to sit through. Also, one thing that you might notice is there are bars on top of the footage that you'll be watching. That is because of two reasons. One, the thing that I recorded from, I have a DVD VCR combo that I use to record. If it wasn't solely for the VCR, it can play widescreen movies, but it plays it in that widescreen. It only plays in a full screen format, so you have the bars on the top on a full screen TV. So it has that, so I tried my best to edit it down, but there still be those bars no matter what movie it is. And second, I'm currently watching it on another DVD player, and the bars are still there. Who the hell knows? But anyways, let's just get right back into it. So far we left off, Bethany meets her, I believe, youth leader in when she arrived back from Mexico, and then we start onward. Well, they go out and then they find the shark that did the crime. I guess. I mean, I literally don't know what the point of this was. That's another thing about this film. It just has a lot of random scenes just thrown in there. Yeah, I could come down and edit a lot of these scenes out and probably cut off about 20 minutes. So after a couple pointless scenes, we see her finally acclimating to using life with one arm, where she's using her feet. Yikes. So after cooking up some food, the only really thing of substance there was she wants to get back in the water. When she does, and then apparently her brother has a bodyboard net. That's actually something I really love doing, is bodyboarding, because I can't surf. She just keeps trying and trying and trying. Just a montage of her failing until eventually she makes it. Thanksgiving, they do a quick toast. He just basically thanks Kevin Sorbo for saving the life of their child, and that's all that really happens. Now we get to the next scene. They finally found the arm of Bethany. Oh, never mind. It's just that prosthetic mentioned in the first part.
Not weight bearing.
How am I supposed to use it to push up on my board?
I think you might have to do that with the other arm.
So is there a way I can grab the rails to duct tie?
Honey, why don't you just give it a chance?
How am I supposed to paddle and surf in this thing? I mean, look at it.
All right. Apparently Bethany's kind of upset because of the arm not being able to bear any weight on it. Which, to be fair, it was 2011. A lot of these prosthetic limbs weren't as good as we have it nowadays 10 years later. But even still, seemed to be a little bit of an overreaction, where she wouldn't even give it one chance. But the weirdest thing ever came from the dad, because he looked like he was upset the entire time, but he was the most encouraging of her to actually try it. It was just, we got really weird conflating messages. Then her mom comes in and is now, oh, you don't need that. The right guy will find you. Okay. Apparently, though, this scene in particular, there seemed, from a while ago, I do not know how accurate this was, but apparently there was an edit. They forgot to edit out the arm from the green sleeve that she was wearing in one of the trailers. However, after searching up a couple of the trailers and watching them, especially for this scene, I have yet to find it. And then on the movie itself, which they obviously used clips and then edited differently, it appears to the green sleeve appears to be completely edited out. So if there was a mistake, I have never not seen it, or maybe they found an unedited footage of it, put it in, and then fooled everybody. Who knows? But it was that scene in particular that really spurred my interest of seeing this and spurred the memory of all the trailers that I've watched about the inspirational story of Hamilton and stuff. And that's what convinced me to actually watch this thing. And then I actually watch it, and it was so fucking boring, I actually fell asleep the first time watching it. It's a shame, because it's supposed to be a nice, true, inspirational story, and it's supposed to pique my interest, but the problem was this middle part is so goddamn lame. I could not pay attention and focus through it. But that's just something I noticed, and I thought I needed to point out. Anyways, she shows her a picture of Venus de Milo, which apparently is one of the most beautiful statues ever made. The fact that this statue has no arms is supposed to be a massive inspiration. Okay, I can see your point, but the thing is, any bust is just head up. They have no body, but they're still beautiful too. Well, that gives her the inspiration to start surfing again. Well, after one painful montage of surfing and filming. Okay, you know what? No, I'm kind of done with this. I'm gonna put a fucking montage counter right here. I'm gonna put a fucking montage counter, and we're just gonna count the montages, because I'm not gonna count how many times surfing is, but there's a goddamn montage. I feel like I set for a few of them right now. So I'm just gonna have a fucking counter on the bottom of the screen right now, and I'm gonna retroactively count all the montages right now. Anyways, let's continue. So after all these montages, we finally get to the contest. Then now we're talking about the storm surges and the tsunamis and storm surges in Thailand. That will come back later.
So you're actually going through with this? Yeah.
Well, I know Melina is supposed to be the antagonist in this thing, but the thing is, I will give her credit. She is treating Bethany as a rival. She isn't taking it easy on her. She doesn't need to take it easy on her. She treats her as competition no matter what. So, it is one thing that that the antagonist does right, is she gives her some competition to deal with. So, there you go.
Oh, a lot of blankets just dropped in on Melina Burke.
Well, okay, obviously poorly done. It just, like, she's right there, and then it magically just cuts into her pushing her into the water. My god, that editing was not good. I mean, I get it. She is being kind of a bitch at this point, kind of going a little too rough, but even still. And how well is that interference gone with? Well, it can't be very well, because Bethany just keeps on getting this impacted by waves, and broke the board. So after losing, she just basically just throws in the towel and is just done with everything. And her father is just not happy with any of this.
Dad, just stop. Okay? It's over.
Oh, come on. You failed one competition. Because you fail one competition doesn't mean you can't do anything. It could have just been, hey, you had a bad day out there. I know I've done plenty of things before. I always try to do multiple tries. Even if the first one was an absolute friggin' disaster, I still go out and still attempt to complete it. You just got pushed around by one giant wave, and you just got beat by one competition. Okay, that's just one competition. There's always the next competition, and it's your first one while surfing with on arm. I'm pretty sure they'll give you another chance. Like, your sponsor will give you another chance due to your circumstances. So just losing one competition to saying I quit forever after this is just not the greatest thing ever. Sure, some things you can quit after one go at it. For example, I tried to do iFly and that was absolutely horrific and I'll never do it again. But I'm not being paid or sponsored to do any of that shit. This is a sponsorship, and after losing one arm, I think they'll give you another chance if your first competition doesn't go well. They have to give you multiple chances because just like that, people just have bad days. But throwing in the towel after one bad experience isn't the way to go. Well, after that, they apparently go to Thailand. Yeah, I told you that part would make sense. Okay, remember last time when I said this? With one exception, and it's just as cliched as you expect it, but Thailand is the exception. This is where she's with her youth group, and yeah, as I said, it's the most cliched fucking thing. Yeah, she goes in here. She thinks, wow, my life is like miserable and shit, but then she goes to an actual place where people are actually suffering, where people now lost their homes and pretty much everything is in disaster. You kidding me? That was the same sound effect in FNAF 3.
Everyone knows that I'm way too my audio.
Yeah, I'm not blaming you for feeling sad or upset or anything, but this is the kind of stuff that you honestly need to prepare for when you do work like this, like nursing or going to a natural disaster area. You have to be ready to deal with stuff like that, where people spill out their life stories. They're super vulnerable like that. I'm not blaming her for crying or anything, but seems like something the teacher should have definitely gone with and try to fundamentally prepare them for this reality. No, they don't want to go to the fucking ocean. Did you not hear a couple of lines ago? These people are absolutely terrified of the water. The water came in here and it's destroyed everything. I don't think swimming is their top fucking priority. You know what I always wondered? I wonder what the background characters are see this shit are wondering about. Alright, so that's the only mention of Thailand throughout the rest of this movie. And I told you, it was the most cliched fucking thing ever. It helps give her a new perspective on everything and teaches her, oh, there's more to life than just surfing. Dear God, it's so cliched and so overdone. Also, how the fuck is teaching this one kid how to surf? How is that going to get everyone else in the water? I know it's not everyone else. There's a shitload of people that are in more inland that are getting help and aid and all that shit that are petrified. But even still, how is that one kid surfing going to get the confidence to do everything else? Especially if they were at ground zero and saw the storm surges coming inwards and were terrified of the water. I could definitely see. I don't get why one kid surfing would instantly change their mind, but again, what did you expect?
There's an 8th grader from North Carolina who lost his arm, Logan, and he says that he's gonna try out for a school soccer team because of me.
Oh, the school soccer team. There's actually one girl that I did meet who didn't lose her arm like up here. She lost it actually right around here. And she was actually one of the best soccer players on the my high school team. Well, I say my high school team. She's like multiple years older than I was, but Yeah, that's pretty cool, dude. Yeah, go out for that soccer team, Logan.
Actually, Melina, I wanted to thank you.
For what?
Just for never taking it easy on me. It means a lot.
See, right there, I told you. Marlena never took it easy on her and gave her some competition, because I guarantee if she would have won that, there would have been that pride issue of like, well, I didn't really want it because everyone just went easy on me and let me walk away with a victory. But no, she never did.
Bethany Hamilton's appearance here is truly a remarkable comeback. Against all odds, she has earned her spot into the national championships.
What do you mean earned her spot? Kind of just quit after the first one. How did she get to nationals? Was there a bunch of contests that she did very well in and this never showed up? Because I don't understand how she got into nationals. Especially if that first contest had anything to do. God, why is the ending of these things always haphazardly constructed? At least in Surf's Up, the big contest was set a couple days and there was nothing in between. And when Cody failed, that was only because he tried to surf against another one and failed before the contest. Yes, I have watched Surf's Up. It's a decent film. Nothing I would ever really review because it's honestly similar to this movie, but much better. Also animated with a much better soundtrack.
Now she is in the lead, Blanchard in second, Melamed in third, Layla Hurst in fourth, Bethany Hamilton is in fifth, and in sixth right now is Moniz.
If it's one thing I noticed is that the main characters in all the goddamn sports shows get their full name while everyone else just gets the last name.
Catch a wave? This is her last chance.
So wait, I don't understand entirely how going underneath was the fastest in this case. And wait, how did she like completely overshoot that wave? Okay, none of that made any sense.
Bethany Hamilton is paddling outside the lineup. What does she see?
I don't know, Dave, but no one's been paddling out in that area all during the contest.
Why is she so far out? What is she giving up?
I don't know.
She feels something.
She's using the force.
The contest may be already over.
No, hold on. She needs to feel the force with this one. Don't worry. We just need the cliche way to come in any second now.
Oh, big bomb on the outside.
See? I told you it would show up eventually.
She is paddling. Here comes the wave.
She's taking the drop.
She wasn't up. Up. Doesn't count. It wasn't up. I don't think this is going to count. There's two things telling me. One, I think if you're not standing up in a surf contest before the timer's up, it doesn't count. Also, cliches will just tell me that this won't count. I don't want to see that same thing earlier from the same place onward. Please don't do another close-up of your face when you're in that hospital bed. It was absolutely horrific. Oh, why do I get to use the force?
Unbelievable. Bethany Hamilton's amazing wave at the end does not count. She stood up after the horn, so she gets no score.
Maybe that's something you should have said before she did the wave. Especially to the audience saying she was declared to be not up. You should have said that first. That way it won't come as a big shock. You should have said that first. That way you don't have this big dramatic climax. But of course, I know why they didn't. It was just so they can just chew and feel like, oh no, she was robbed that wave. When in reality, they should have just gone like, okay, no, she can ride this wave, but it will not count.
It's okay, Dad. It's okay.
But it didn't count.
It counted.
Don't worry, I got a goal in soccer taken away from me because he claimed I did a shove when in reality I more or less stuck out my arms and kind of did a rotation motion where he said I pushed him when in reality I didn't. I just did a perfect shield and knocked it over. However, they blew the whistle before the ball went in the net, so it wouldn't have. It was a goal. It should have been accounted as a goal, but of course he called it a foul, so I never got the goal anyway. So yes, I get the feeling of it counts in my book.
I'd like to share this win with Bethany Hamilton because the judges may not have counted that last wave, but I did.
Oh wow, one wave just made you all a good sport. Then that was absolutely jarring. Okay, of course. After that narration, there's Bethany surfing. Yeah, now we just have essentially home video clips of Bethany doing things after the attack. Why did they freeze frame it? Not with the character in frame. And that was Soul Surfer. Was it good? Nah, not really. As one review that I read on Rotten Tomatoes, it feels like it's a great story, but it's just covered and drenched with Hollywood cheese. And yes, I do need to agree with that. This was one of the cheesiest and cliched movies I've ever watched. However, from what I could tell, it seems to be respectful enough and a decent retelling of Bethany Hamilton's story. So, is it anywhere bad? No, I would never say it was bad. I would never say it was that good, but it's definitely not bad. Now, as terms of religious films, this is one of the best. I said it earlier, this is the best religious film that I ever saw. There is a reason for that. Movies like God's Not Dead absolutely demonizes everyone that isn't a Christian. This movie basically kind of nearly ignores religion for a bit. Yeah, earlier I said it seems to be doing like, it wants to be a religious film, then a surf film, religious surf. It keeps going back and forth, all over the goddamn place. It seems to be doing that. And that's honestly why it's makes it much better, is because the religion doesn't take center stage. It's more of a side thing. So that's why more people who aren't Christians can actually watch this and see a more inspirational story, because they actually separated the Christian subjects and the main plot separately. Now, I think if they took away a lot of this religious aspects and they edited out a lot of these boring religious scenes that barely added anything, I'm not saying get rid of the scenes entirely, but trim them down to more tolerable things and then just get rid of some scenes that totally seem unnecessary, I would say this movie would be much, much better, and I probably wouldn't have reviewed it. Just to reiterate, why is this the best religious film? It's because it doesn't demonize anyone that doesn't believe in their own religion. It treats everyone of equal faith and equal identity as equals, honestly. While movies like God's Not Dead demonizes anyone that isn't a radical Christian. So that's my main reason to why this is definitely not the worst religious film, and honestly the best one I've seen. The other better one that I saw was I'm Not Ashamed from 2016, which is about the Columbine shooting. But I will give them credit. It doesn't demonize everyone, but that one, the religious aspect gets so heavy-handed in it. While this one, it seems to be two completely separate things that just somehow got sewn ass to end in one movie. It's honestly surreal to actually watch it in real life, because I had no idea it was a religious film. I remember watching the adverts as a kid. I was actually trying to watch other movies that came out in 2011, like I Am Number 4, and no, that was about it. That's all I remember. That's what I specifically remember watching was I Am Number 4. Yes, I was actually out there to watch I Am Number 4, and I remember watching a trailer for Soul Surfer with I Am Number 4, alongside other horror-esque type movies that were supposed to come out that year. Funny enough, Contagion from 2011 actually came out that year. Came out actually in October of that year, but I never watched a trailer for it. I've seen a couple trailers for it on TV, and I've seen a couple Soul Surfer trailers on TV as well. But yeah, I remember watching it and then hearing about it. It kind of just went by and just gone. And then now I actually had to pay for it for $5 on a Walmart bargain bin. And the bottom of the Walmart bargain bin, so I watched it, and then I realized there's something of substance to review here. Again, I'm sorry this review took a while to do, and it just mostly came to the movie itself being so dull that it was impossible to watch in one sitting and try to review in one sitting, because the recordings right now are ranking in about 3 hours. Because one of the things that I did was watch the movie and did commentary, and then did commentary at the end and the beginning and the end. So I'm sorry that it took a while, and that's probably why the reviews probably feel two different types of review altogether. Mostly because I can't do it all in one sitting, because of just how really just boring the movie is. And why is the movie so boring? It honestly has to do with some of the plot and the editing. The problem with the editing is that it's strung together. The transitions between scenes are decently done. The problem is they don't delete scenes that have no impact on the story at all. They just keep scenes in that have no influence or barely anything at all. Like the shark scene. At what point was that even necessary for the purpose of the story? I mean, Bethany didn't even... It wasn't implied that Bethany even saw the shark, or maybe she did. Well, maybe. Maybe she saw it and ran away, but I didn't understand what the fucking point of it was. And there's plenty of other scenes that just seem haphazardly thrown in, which, when you add a bunch of scenes all together that don't link up or just feel like they're taking everything to a grinding halt, it gets really boring to watch. And it honestly drags the whole movie down, because this is a movie that I actually came in not wanting to hate. I came in it with an open mind, saying, hey, it could be an inspirational story. Maybe I wouldn't have to riff it or anything, but nope. Who knew? Who would ever thought about a movie about a woman getting her arm torn off by a shark would be so boring? I mean, that should be somewhat exciting of how she overcame adversity and shit like that right there, but they just made it and edited it to the most boring melodrama shit I've ever watched. Honestly, it's kind of insulted to the rest of it. I would probably say it was a mediocre movie. I would probably give it, like, if I had to grade it on a scale of 1 to 10, 4.5 out of 10, between a 4 and a 5, because there's plenty of salvageable aspects of the movie, and there's other decent stuff out there. There's much better stuff out there, and there's much worse stuff out there. It could have definitely been worse, but it could have been much, 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 much better as a story and a surf. If you want a decent surf movie, go watch Surf's Up. It's a bit cheesy and cliched, but it at least has interesting action and a much better soundtrack. Oh, there's one last gripe that I have. I know in the fucking trailers, they overused Katy Perry's Firework, which is a great song, and I love it. The problem is, none of it actually appears in the damn movie. If you check the credits for all the songs that they use, Katy Perry's Firework never appears in the credits. And it's kind of infuriating, because this seems like something that would be in there, you know? But it's not. Yes, it was filmed on the islands of Oahu, which I actually been to the island of Oahu. That's where I actually got this shirt, and I actually went there for a band trip. We also toured around other parts of Honolulu, predominantly that. We also went to PCC, the Polynesian Cultural Center, and that was an absolute blast. And we've just been around and experienced other things on the island, and obviously went to Pearl Harbor and played in remembrance of Pearl Harbor because it was around Thanksgiving. But yes, I do know a little bit about the island of Oahu, and I absolutely loved it. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. It was a lot of work to make, but I feel that it was worth making. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, please leave a like, and subscribe if you want to see videos uploaded from me. See ya.